The name Brotherhood sounds so benign, and to call people the brothers, I mean, it sounds like a fraternity. It sounds okay. But that organization suffered a major setback earlier this month in Egypt when Mohamed Morsi was ousted as president. But the group is still strong and very active worldwide, including right here in the United States. And as Mark Martin reports, the Brotherhood has been spreading its influence here in the West for decades.
The Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt is on its heels after the recent military coup that displaced Mohamed Morsi as president and saw several Brotherhood leaders arrested. Elsewhere, however, the Brotherhood continues to thrive. From Germany to Britain to America and beyond, the brothers maintain a well-established network that seeks to undermine host societies and establish Islamic Sharia law. In his new book, The Brotherhood, America's Next Great Enemy, terrorism analyst Eric Stakelbeck tells the story of a group that has waited patiently for a century to subvert democracy and replace it with tyranny. He says that despite knowing this history, however, many Western governments continue to compromise with the Brotherhood, and he says this misguided thinking could have devastating consequences.
Well, CBN News terrorism analyst Eric Stakelbeck is here with us. The new book that he's just out, is released today, is called The Brotherhood, America's Next Great Enemy. It's one that you ought to get. You can get it on Amazon or wherever books are sold. The Brotherhood by Eric Stakelbeck. Eric, good to have you with us.
Great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, what's the deal? You know, Hillary Clinton thinks they're nice people, and others in the American government think that the Brotherhood is just a nice, moderate group of patriots. What do you say?
Well, Pat, look, I think the Muslim Brotherhood are the ultimate Islamists in sheep's clothing. That's how I described them in the book. These guys, Pat, they dress like you and I. They wear suits and ties. They're very eloquent. They're well-educated, Western-educated, many of them. And the Obama administration, and mainly the political left in this country and in Europe, they look at the Brotherhood and say, hey, these are guys we can deal with. They're reasonable. They're not violent. We can use these guys, the so-called moderate Islamists, as a counterweight against al-Qaeda. They will work against al-Qaeda. That's the mind frame of our leaders, Pat. But here's the problem, and I lay it out in the book. Al-Qaeda stemmed from the Muslim Brotherhood. Without the Muslim Brotherhood, Pat, there would be no Al-Qaeda. As a matter of fact, there would have been no 9/11. Without this organization, the Muslim Brotherhood, Pat, their ideology has driven the entire global jihad. Every Al-Qaeda leader belonged to the Brotherhood before they belonged to Al-Qaeda.
Give us the key points of the Brotherhood philosophy. What do they believe?
Pat, in its essence, their founding motto, people need to remember, jihad is our way. Dying in the way of Allah is our highest hope. Martyrdom. All those suicide bombers you see, where did they get that ideology? The Muslim Brotherhood, Pat, laid the groundwork in Egypt, founded in 1928.
Dying in the cause of Allah is our highest goal. That is what they really believe. They promote martyrdom.
They do. And, Pat, these are our friends, right? Our administration's embracing them. And, by the way, Hamas, which is really the innovator of suicide bombing, is the Palestinian branch of the Muslim Brotherhood. This is not a nonviolent group. Hamas is really its battering ram against Israel. By the way, Pat, this group, the Muslim Brotherhood, is the vanguard of global anti-Semitism. In the book, I lay out how they collaborated with the Nazis during World War II, working closely with Hitler's minions to wipe out the Jews in the Middle East.
Have they come to the White House? Have they been honored by our government?
Pat, I did a report for the 700 Club a few months ago, as you remember, with a Muslim Brotherhood-tied operative, a guy named Mohammed Majid. In the book, I name names. He's a guy, Pat, who at the annual White House iftar dinner during Ramadan had a front row seat right in front of President Obama. Now, this is a guy whose father was a top Muslim Brotherhood leader in Sudan. Surprise, surprise. And a leading Egyptian magazine, I lay this out in the book, Pat, has named 6 potential Muslim Brotherhood operatives working inside this administration, advising the Obama administration on its counterterrorism and Middle East policy.
Wait. They are there inside the administration advising them on counterterrorism, the Muslim Brotherhood?
Absolutely. A Muslim Brotherhood linked operatives, Pat, and the links, these are not just fanciful links. I outline in the book, meticulously footnoted, these are concrete links that these individuals have to the Muslim Brotherhood, and they are without a doubt advising the FBI, advising Obama administration officials. A few weeks ago, Pat, we saw a leading Muslim Brotherhood cleric from Egypt here in Washington, D.C., meeting with officials in the White House. The White House did not deny it, Pat. They said, yeah, we met with him. He's going to help us against al-Qaeda.
Now, I understood that the FBI took 1,000 pages out of their manual on terrorism that was offensive to Islamic. Well, now, was the Brotherhood responsible for them?
Yes, they were. Pat, Brotherhood, yeah.
Tell us exactly what happened.
Well, absolutely. You had top Brotherhood operatives here in America advising Robert Mueller, the former FBI director, face-to-face, Pat, in a meeting with Mueller and said, look, these documents that you're teaching FBI agents are Islamophobic. You must strike them from the record. The FBI complied. Basically, you have the fox guarding the henhouse.
They took 1,000 pages out, didn't they?
Took 1,000 documents, very important documents.
Not pages, documents.
Yeah, and Pat, you wonder why the Boston bombing happened. We had the older bomber in custody. The FBI interviewed him and let him go. Now, I wonder if that's because FBI agents don't know how to identify the ideology that's driving the terrorism. This guy was a hardened terrorist who trained overseas. And, Pat, I describe in the book how both of the Boston bombers attended a Muslim Brotherhood-controlled mosque in Boston. Surprise, surprise.
Wait a minute. The Muslim Brotherhood controlled the mosque in Boston?
Absolutely, Pat. Through a group called the Muslim American Society. I don't want to get too in the weeds, but these are groups I lay out in the book which are closely tied to the Muslim Brotherhood. Pat, as a matter of fact, this group, the Muslim American Society, our own government has described it as the overt arm of the Brotherhood in America. That's our own government, and we have their strategy documents, Pat. You and I have discussed here in the club. Our own FBI, in a raid of a leading Brotherhood operative's home just outside Washington, D.C., 10 minutes from our capital, found these official Muslim Brotherhood strategy documents. I include the documents in the book, and they talk about destroying America from within. Pat, they've laid it out. This is the equivalent of having Nazi documents during World War II, Soviet documents during the Cold War. And what are we doing? Instead of crushing this group, we're embracing them.
What is it with the Obama administration? What do you think Obama is a crypto-Muslim, or what's the story? What do you think?
I think he, and I describe this in the book, Pat, I think he is a revolutionary leftist. He's a transformative leftist. He says he wants to fundamentally transform America, right? And he's in the process of doing it now. And you'll work, if you have that mindset, in my view, you will work with other entities that you may not agree with on everything. You'll work with other entities against a common foe. For the hardcore left, for the hardcore Islamists, the common foe is Judeo-Christian Western civilization at the end of the day, and turning that on its head. So we have strange bedfellows. I have a whole chapter on it in the book, Pat. This Occupy movement, Occupy Wall Street, radical Islamists around the world were cheering that on. Anything that weakens America, weakens traditional America, the left will support.
Eric, that is chilling. And ladies and gentlemen, I wish it weren't true, but this is a well-documented treatise by our good friend Eric on the danger, and what do you call it, America's next great enemy, the Muslim Brotherhood. The Brotherhood, America's great, you can get this book wherever books are sold. Eric, thank you for this. And ladies and gentlemen, today's the day. It's on the book stands. You can get it, and you ought to have your own copy. Thanks, my friend. God bless you.
I appreciate you too.
Thank you. Eric Stakelbeck.